This video is not about tagger culture. Tagger culture rarely pretends or even tries to legitimize itself as art. This is about graffiti as art. That is to say, graffiti imposed in the environment. Not graffiti work that is put on like boards and then thrown into galleries. I'm not sure how that really qualifies as graffiti anymore. If anything, it's just a painting. Anyways, this is about graffiti artists or militant artists, people who go out and produce art usually through the destruction of public or private property. I once counted myself among them, these guerrilla artists. Since a long time ago, I've actually had a strong interest in graffiti, and I've looked at it rather heavily. But I've also had a strong interest in philosophy and morality and ethics. Over the course of my college degree, I sort of came to a general conclusion about the subject. Again, in regards to graffiti art only. Graffiti is art used as a weapon to take an idea and force it upon an unwilling audience. They are forced to absorb the message because it has destroyed their property, because it is their property now. They are exposed to it when they are least expecting it, and most likely least want it. It is a message by force. Even if it is only an aesthetic message, that message is forced upon an audience, an unsuspecting and unwilling audience. And even artists who take part in so-called beautification projects, even then, it is still not someone's wish to have this done. No one asked for it, nobody wanted it, and there it is, bearing down upon them. The question is, who gets to use the weapon? Who decides who gets to use the weapon? By what right do they have to use it, and who deserves to have the weapon used upon them? And why? Who gets to decide this? I understand the anarchist opposition to the concept of private property and such like that. It comes from their communist roots. But we already know that that part of anarchy doesn't work. It's why anarchist groups always eventually fall apart. It's why they can't hold together. It's a disrespect of personal property, of personal space. And still the question remains, who deserves to have it used upon them? I'm an atheist. For a time, I was an anti-theist. I was very anti-religion. Should I have spray painted the side of a church? No. Those people never did anything to me. It was a juvenile, self-righteous, self-glorifying mentality, with no consideration for anyone else. When it comes down to it, graffiti, art, is an ultimate perversion of what art has always been, a corruption of what art has always been. The ability to create, to communicate messages in ways that regular words and weapons and force cannot possibly communicate. Ideas which words cannot that words cannot represent. I'm even having trouble finding words to represent the idea I'm trying to express about art. It's not right to use a weapon. Every weapon comes with itself responsibility, because a weapon is power. You have to be responsible for your actions. But this form of vandalism requires anonymity, and therefore absolves the user of the weapon of any responsibility. It is by its very nature an irresponsible weapon. It is impossible to use it responsibly. Because you cannot be held accountable for your actions. I would rather create than destroy. I would rather communicate than berate. I would rather inspire than deride. I cannot count myself among graffiti artists any longer. I do not agree with the philosophy behind their actions.